Second only to Darth Vader, General Grievous was one of history's most proficient Jedi killers, having slain hundreds during the 3 years for which the Clone Wars raged. These kills resulted in many fine additions to Grievous's collection of lightsaber trophies, many of which he used in combat. He could only fight with 4 at a time, however, which begs the question, which lightsabers did he prefer to use and why?
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
Grievous's lightsaber collection was a staple of his character, frequently touted by the General himself as evidence of his proficiency at Jedi killing. He often kept a number of the weapons on his person, either magnetically attached to his waist or sheathed within special pockets in the lining of his cape. These storage methods weren't capable of carrying the full collection, however. Most of Grievous's lightsaber trophies were kept in his fortress on Vasek. As far as we know, Grievous kept 6 lightsabers on him at any given time at the most, and more often he only carried 2 or 4. So to restate the topic, which ones were those and why did he carry them? Pretty much all lightsabers are unique, just like their owners. This is mostly for the sake of utility, as different species and body types require different grip types, hilt sizes, and all manner of specifications. It's safe to assume that this didn't affect Grievous's choices at all, however, at least as far as practicality goes. Grievous's versatile cyborg body meant that he was able to use nearly any lightsaber comfortably, with specifications making no noticeable difference in combat for him. As a result, it's a safe bet that Grievous chose the lightsabers he chose for a combination of aesthetic preference and who they came from. Some lightsabers simply look cooler than others. Compare Ki-Adi-Mundi's rather boring saber, for example, with the one K'Kruk lost on Hypori. Coolness aside, however, Grievous probably chose the sabers he used based on who had owned them prior. Lightsabers, especially those of more well-known Jedi, were rather distinctive, and it's very possible that Grievous took advantage of this. Seeing an opponent fighting with weapons taken from some of the greatest masters of the Order is a bit of a morale blow for most Jedi after all. So that's why Grievous used the lightsabers that he did. Which ones they were is more of a difficult matter. There is actually a source that claims to identify Grievous's preferred weapons, listing them as having originally been owned by Pablo Gil, Adi Gallia, Shakti, and Roran Korob. But unfortunately, this isn't all there is to the matter. It's highly unlikely that these were actually the lightsabers that Grievous used the most for several reasons, even if he did end up preferring them. First off, Grievous didn't get 3 of those 4 lightsabers until the Battle of Coruscant. He did indeed take the lightsabers of Roran Korob, Shakti, and Pablo Gil, and in a single day no less, but this was late in the battle. Korob died as part of the last wave of defenders around Chancellor Palpatine. T lost hers in a last-ditch effort to stop Palpatine from escaping, and Pablo Gil lost his in an even more last-ditch effort when he unsuccessfully tried to board the Invisible Hand. This only leaves Adi Gallia's lightsaber, and while at the time the source was written this was canonically accurate, Grievous didn't have this one for long before his death either. He claimed her saber in the Battle of Boz Pity at the start of the Outer Rim sieges, which puts it in the same predicament as most of the others. Even if Grievous did favour it, he didn't have it for long, and he couldn't have used any of them in all but one pre-Revenge of the Sith appearance. Secondly, the source itself doesn't seem all that accurate in this regard. While the attribution of Adi Gallia's death to General Grievous was indeed canon when it was released, as the episode of the Clone Wars that overrode it had yet to be released, there are more continuity errors in that part of the book as well. The lightsaber that was supposedly Gallia's is green, not blue, and furthermore, its story about Grievous taking Pablo Gil's lightsaber during the Battle of Duro isn't corroborated by anything, even if it sounds pretty cool. There are more lightsabers that we can nail down as having been used by Grievous, however, which might allow us to come up with a better answer. Grievous killed a long list of Jedi, and though we don't know anywhere near all of them, we do have a fair list. Discounting deaths that were later overwritten, like Adi Gallia's, Grievous killed Ursema Du, Dakman Barak, Shagi, Tarsier, Puroth, Nistamal, Walden Bridger, Zafara Rutor, Flint Torol, Nadar Veb, Chuka Dun, Jma, Bedard Tone, Soon Bates, Furkran, Beinko Trila, Lalacio Sagion, Roron Korob, Thal Mudama, Roth Dalmasona, and Pablo Gil. Grievous also got several lightsabers from Jedi that he didn't kill, most notably Shaak Ti, Crook, Ki-Adi-Mundi, and even Sifo Dyas. This gives us a pretty lengthy list of options to choose from, and seeing as it includes more than just 4 notable Jedi Masters, this might seem like a bit of a tall order. But we do have a bit of help with it. We do know of several Jedi whose lightsabers Grievous did use, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Let's start out with one that might have stood out from the list of Jedi Grievous didn't kill, Sifo Dyas's. Sifo Dyas's lightsaber was the start of Grievous's collection, a gift from Dooku that came with his position as General of the CIS. This lightsaber looked quite different from the one that Plo Koon later found in Star Wars The Clone Wars, so it can be assumed that Sifo Dyas had two. Regardless, one of them was definitely used by General Grievous, especially at first. Grievous's earliest kills are also likely candidates for lightsabers that he used, at least at first, for obvious reasons. At a minimum, he gathered 6 in complete secrecy in the 4 months preceding the Battle of Hypori, and we know the original owner of one more of these, Samadu, Grievous's first Jedi kill. Master Samadu encountered Grievous in the catacombs of Geonosis, and her status as Grievous's first victim likely meant that Grievous was particularly fond of her lightsaber. Grievous gained a number of lightsabers on Hypori itself, having killed 3 Jedi and critically wounding 3 more. He likely took the weapons of Dakman Barak, Shagi, and Tarsier out of their cold dead hands, and though this isn't confirmed, it is known that he scavenged the battlefield for weapons after the battle was over, so it is likely. We know for a fact that Grievous also claimed the lightsabers of Ki-Adi-Mundi and Krook, despite not killing them, and these are likely candidates for our shortlist, as both were Jedi Masters of high reputation. We know for a fact that Krook's lightsaber in particular was fairly frequently used by Grievous, and since it looks pretty cool, we can hardly blame him for that. There are some Jedi on the list that we can conclusively determine did not have their weapons used by General Grievous, which helps to narrow down our options a little bit. Walden Bridger, for example, didn't use a lightsaber at all when he faced Grievous, which is probably why it took Grievous less than 30 seconds to gut him. He also didn't use the lightsaber of Nadar Veb after the mission to Vasek, as that weapon was reclaimed by Kit Fisto. We can also rule out Zephytar Rutor and Flint Torol, as Grievous killed them in space at range. 2 other lightsabers that we know for a fact Grievous did use were those of Puroth and Nistamal, a pair of Jedi that he killed on Tovarsk. Tovarsk was a colony world of the Yamri species otherwise known as the Huk, who were responsible for the misfortunes of Grievous's homeworld. Grievous was on that world to massacre the colonists when Master Puroth and her apprentice tried to stop him, and he killed them both before completing his mission. He used these weapons at least semi-frequently, as Obi-Wan Kenobi recognized them when he cut them free of Grievous's hands on Utapau. 2 weapons of note that Grievous claimed, one of which we know he used, were those of Jedi Masters T'Chaka Dune and Jamar. Grievous had a special hatred in his heart for these 2, as they had been the ones that led the Jedi strike force that halted his revenge against the Yamri during the Huk War. Grievous made short work of both of them during a battle midway through the Clone Wars and claimed both of their lightsabers. He used Jamar's on Utapau, and he likely used Dune's too. We don't know any more sabers that Grievous used for certain, but there are some more likely candidates on the lists of sabers that he had. Shaak Ti, Lalasley Osagian, Pablo Gil, Soon Bates, and Fur Kren were all fairly legendary Jedi that Grievous bested in combat, having stolen the weapon of the former and killed the other 4. These kills all took place during the end stages of the war, as with the other Jedi on the previous kill list that we haven't mentioned yet, but for that brief period of time, they are viable candidates. With that said, let's take a look at what lightsabers are the 6 most likely candidates to have been in Grievous's regular rotation. Crooks tops the list because he got that lightsaber early in the war, and we know for a fact that he used it frequently for a long while afterwards. With less certainty, I'd add Samadu's to the list as well, due to her status as Grievous's first kill. Considering the high rank of Ki-Adi-Mundi, Grievous probably used the one he stole from him on Hypori frequently too. We know that Puroth's lightsaber was also commonly used by Grievous, and considering their role in his past, we'll finish off our list with the weapons of Jamar and Chukka Dune. So, in our opinion, those are the lightsabers that are most likely to have been frequently used by General Grievous. But considering all this information, I want to know what you guys think. Do you agree or disagree with our assessment? Let me know in the comments section below. And you know the drill, guys. Make sure you go down to that description box and click that little show more button to check out all our links in the description below. We have all of our Discords where you can interact with other Star Wars fans, and we also have our Star Wars games on Gmod and Roblox where you can play with other Star Wars fans such as yourself. And if you are a history buff like me, make sure you check out my second channel, where I discuss all the unknowns of World War I, World War II, and the Vietnam War, and will likely also be expanding to other history topics in the near future. So those are all in the description below, guys. Make sure you check them out. Anyways, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.